Okay, so now you're able to see my screen. Thanks for the response. So the average of a number is a measure of the central tendency of numbers. In other words, it is an estimate of where the center point of a set of numbers would lie, right? It gives you a rough estimation of where the, like if we have multiple numbers out there, so it gives us a rough estimate of where the center point would lie. Okay, now the most important formula in this chapter is sum of observations by number of observations, right? This is the main formula. if there are if there are m numbers, namely n1, n2, n3, n4 till nm, so if we have to calculate the average for all those m numbers, so we are going to add all the numbers. That value will come in the numerator divided by the number of terms. If we have m terms, so we'll divide it by m, right? So the value of this fraction will give me the value of average. Okay, so a simple question for you. Try to solve this question. Hurry up. Find the average of 22, 23, 25, 27, 28. And remember the answer, because we are going to learn a trick to solve these questions. Correct, everyone. Good. Yeah, thank you. So it was a simple one, right? You just had to add all the 5 numbers. That sum was coming out to be 125. And since we were finding the average of 5 numbers, so we divided by 5, and 125 by 5 gave us 25. Okay, we'll learn a trick to solve these questions also after 2-3 PPTs. Meanwhile, look into this PPT. Okay, this part. Very useful when you come across questions on averages, mainly if you're sitting for any company placement test. I have myself seen that out of these 4 or 5 important formulas, generally we see a formula out there. Okay, so you'll get the PPT, so you don't have to worry. Like first of all, there's the sum of first n natural numbers. Okay, you must have read it in your school days. The sum of first n natural numbers is n into n plus 1 by 2, right? So similarly, just imagine if the question was to find out the average of first n natural numbers. Okay, the question was to find out the average of first n natural numbers. So what would have been your approach in that case? Your approach would have been to calculate the sum using the formula and divide it by n, right? So n into n 1 by 2 divided by n. So the n will get cancelled from both the numerator and the denominator, and you'll get the average here. Is it okay? Like, is it okay, guys? Any issue in this formula? See, it's like, let's say, if I take an example how to use the first formula. So let's say the question is to find out the sum of first 150 natural numbers. I'm asking you to find out the sum of first 150 natural numbers. Okay. Now, definitely you're not going to sit and you're not going to add all the natural numbers manually from 1 to 150. You aren't going to do that, right? Because it's going to take a lot of time. So instead, if anyone knows what is the formula for the sum of first n naturals, can very quickly calculate the average, right? He just needs to put the value of n as 150 out here, and he will get the value. He'll get the answer. Yes or no? Is it clear, guys? Tell me what will be the average of the first 150 natural numbers. Tell me the exact value. What will be the average of the first 150 natural numbers? Okay. Yeah, correct. Khushbu, Rishabh, Deepti, Noor, Prashant. The answer is correct. Exactly. You just need to put the value of n as 150 in the given formula. So the numerator will become 150 plus 1. 151 divided 2, and 151 2 gives you 75.5. Right? Okay, using the same formula, can you tell me, let's say if I am asking you to find the sum of, listen the question properly. I want you to find the average of 1 square, comma, 2 square, comma, 3 square, comma, 4 square, and this cycle keeps on going till, let's say, 15 square. Okay, I'm repeating the question. I want you guys to find the average of 1 square, comma, 2 square, comma, 3 square, comma, 4 square, till dot 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 till 15 square. uh, we have just started with the class. We just discussed what is the formula for average, and then this is the very next PPT. So for those who have joined the session in the last 5 minutes, you don't have to worry at all. Okay? You can say that this is the first important thing which we have just started. So guys, now let's quickly discuss what would have been our approach. As I have asked you to find the average of first 15 square numbers. So in this formula, the fourth formula on the rightmost column, you just had to keep the value of n as 15. Okay, you just have to keep the value of n as 15. So this will become 15 plus 1 into 2 into 15 plus 1. So 15 plus 1 will be 16. 2 into 15 plus 1 would be 31. So this will be 16 into 31 divided by 6. Okay, you will get a decimal, and like people have solved it correctly. Yeah, 82.67 is the answer. Okay, now guys, the very last formula, the formula for consecutive numbers, is the most important one out here. Okay, and even the easiest one. What are consecutive numbers? Consecutive numbers are, in most of the cases, people assume that consecutive numbers are those numbers which are having a difference of 1. Okay, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 or 7 8 9 10, like that. But in mathematics, consecutive numbers simply means that the difference between any two consecutive terms is the same. Okay, in your class 10th in mathematics, you must have read arithmetic progression. Okay, that was chapter number 5 in class 10th mathematics, right? So in average, if you are supposed to find out the average of, let's say, some set of consecutive numbers, so in that case, you can simply go for this formula, which says the average will be equal to first term plus last term whole divided by 2. First term plus last term whole divided by 2. Okay? You just need to remember this. That's all. Exactly, Ashutosh, AP. So now again, a question for you. Quickly tell me the average of first 100 multiples of 7. Quickly tell me the average of first 100 multiples of 7. You're going to get only 30 seconds. Hurry up. Even 30 seconds is more for this question. Average of first 100 multiples of 7. Hurry up. Wrong, Ashutosh. It's not 5.5. Mahek, it's wrong. Mahek, Rishabh, your answers are wrong. Deepthi, wrong. 100 is not the answer. See, guys, you are unable to use the formula. If you're getting a wrong answer out here, it simply means that you have not paid attention in the last 2 minutes. You just need to use the very last formula. See, now, as soon as you got something which is not familiar to you guys, I'm getting multiple answers. If this would have been Kaun Banega Crorepati, the 4 options would have been gone out till now. And the number of options are increasing. Ashutosh, from where did you get this 20? Okay, guys, now I'll discuss the solution. Okay, that question I just came across with the question. So now listen, I asked you to find out the average of first 100 multiples of 7, right? Now, if I just write down, if I just talk about some of those numbers, initial numbers, so they are 7, comma, 14, comma, 21, 28, 35, 42. This keeps on going till where? Till where? What is the last term? The last term is the 100 multiple of 7, which is 700, right? So the cycle starts from 7, goes in the form of 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, dot, 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 till 700, right? So now this particular series, is this a series of consecutive numbers? Yes, this is a series of consecutive numbers. And if this is a series of consecutive numbers, then what would have been our approach to calculate the average? We could have simply gone with the very last formula, the formula in the last row, which says first term plus last term whole divided by 2. First term plus last term whole divided by 2. Now in this particular series, our first term is 7, our last term is 700. So first term plus last term would have been 7 plus 700, which is nothing but 707, and that would have been divided by 2. 707 divided by 2 is 353.5. So the ones who got 353.5, congratulations, your answer was correct. Okay. So now, is this clear, guys? Did you learn a good technique to solve this question? Okay, so moving forward, quickly solve this question. Now, it should take you hardly 10 seconds. Hardly 10 seconds. Find the average of the following numbers, hardly 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, I should be able to see all the participants reply to this question. Exactly. Good. Thank you, guys. So what was the approach? The approach was very simple. As soon as I gave you the following set of numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, dot, 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 till 21, you should be able to identify that this is nothing but a set of consecutive numbers, okay, which is increasing by 2. So what will be the formula for average? First term plus last term whole divided by 2. First term is 1, last term is 21. So 1 plus 21 will give you 22. 22 by 2 will give you 11. Okay, so the answer would have been option C. So is this clear? So next set of question, I would request you guys to try to solve this question. this is having 5 questions in it, okay, and this is based on the property of average. So I'll give you a roughly 1 to 2 minute, try to solve this question, and I'll discuss the solution. I want you guys to tell me the answer of all the 5 questions together, okay? Just separate the answers with the help of comma. Everyone, tell me all the answers together, okay? Chandan, you're left only with the last question. Very good. Chandan Sharma, correct. Good. So one of your participants have answered all the 5 questions. 5 questions in less than a minute. So average speed is hardly 10 to 12 seconds per question. I want everyone to have the speed. Very good, Khushbu. Daman, slight mistake. Noor, slight mistake in the last one. Oh no, sorry. Daman, Noor, you are correct. Khushbu, your third solution is wrong. Abhishek, second one is wrong. Shivam, third one is wrong. Is it 16.8 or you were trying to write 16,8? Okay. So should we start with the discussion, guys, now? Should we start with the discussion? Let's try to learn some properties of averages, which would have helped us to solve this question. If anyone who solved the first part, the A part of this question with the normal method, and if he or she knows the property, then the next 4 questions from B to A would have been solved in less than 2 seconds. Okay. So for the very first part, for the A part was very easy, right? I simply asked you to find out the average of first 25 natural numbers. So your approach should have been 1 plus 25 divided by 2, first term plus last term divided by 2. So that would have given you 13. Now guys, what was the question? The question, second part of the question said that when 3 is added to each of the original set of 25 numbers, what does it mean? The original set was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 25. The new set would have been 1 plus 3, 2 plus 3, 3 plus 3, 4 plus 3, till 25 plus 3, right? This would have been the new set of 25 numbers. And since most of you have already solved the question, you must have seen that in the second question, your answer came out to be 16. And in the first part, your answer came out to be 13. So what is the difference between the two? The difference is nothing but the number which was added to each of the original set of numbers, right? Agree or not? Initially you got 13 as the average, and in the second part you got 16 as the average. From where you could have got the 16? You could have simply identified that in the first set of question and in the second set of question, the only change is in the set of numbers. In the second question, the set of numbers is increased by 3. So the average will also increase by 3 with respect to the previous set, with respect to the initial set of numbers. Okay. So question B should have been solved very quickly, provided you knew how to, if you knew the property that in a set of numbers, if the average is if all the numbers are increased by a constant number, let's say k, then the average will also get increased by the same number k. Okay. Similarly, what is the third question? The third question says that when 5 is subtracted from each of the numbers, which numbers? From 1, 2, 3, 4 till 25. So in this case, what would have been our approach? Again, if you take the help of part A, in part A, you got the averages 13. And so if you take the help of part A, part C would have been nothing but 13 minus 5. Because since each of the numbers has been decreased by 5, so the new average will also get decreased by 5. In part D, 6 was multiplied to all the numbers. So in the answer of part D, the new average will be nothing but the initial average into 6. So 13 into 6, 78 would have been the answer for the fourth question. And in the last part of the question, each of the numbers were divided by 6.5. So in the answer, the new average would have been the initial average divided by 6.5, right? So in simple terms, let's say you have taken some set of numbers in your mind and you found the average of those set of numbers to be, let's say, x. Okay, now if I increase all those set of numbers by a constant number k, then the average will also get increased by k. If I decrease each of those numbers by k, the average will also get decreased by the same number. Or if I multiply or divide each of those numbers by a constant, so accordingly the average will also get multiplied or divided by the same constant. Okay, so are you clear with this property? Right? So just in case, if you are able to identify this thing, it would help you. Okay. Okay, so thank you guys for your responses. Now moving forward, let's start with the deviation method. Now you have already found the answer for this question, right? You know how to solve this question in the normal way. Now let's try to learn deviation method. This deviation method is used to find average, and this helps when the given set of numbers are closer to each other. Okay, so please keep it in mind that when you are going to use deviation method, if the numbers are very close to each other, then it will be very helpful for you, else it will be time consuming. Okay, so what does this deviation method says? It says that assume any number as the average. Assume any number as the average. Now it can be one of these 5 numbers, or it can be a number of your choice. But when I use deviation method, I always choose one of the given numbers. If there are 5 numbers given in the question, I choose one of those numbers as the average. So this is the first step. Now the second step is find the deviation for all the given values. Deviation is nothing but taking the difference of the numbers given in the question with the average we have assumed. Okay, deviation is nothing but taking the difference of the numbers given in the question with the average that we have assumed. Okay, so you don't have to worry, like everything will be noted here. So the given numbers were 20, 23, 28, 24, 25. So let's see what will be the deviations. In the first case, for the deviation for 20 will be 20 minus 25. So that will give you minus 5. Okay. In the second case, deviation will be 23 minus 25. That will give you -2. In the third case, +3. In the fourth case, -1. And in the last case, since we took the average to be, we assumed the average to be 25. So the deviation of 25 from 25 will be 0. Okay. So is it clear till this part, guys? Like, you know, you're clear with what is the step? First step is to assume any of the numbers to be average. Assume one of the given numbers. Then the second step is to find the deviation. Okay. Now the third step is to take sum of all the deviations. Okay. Sum of all the deviations. So you need to add -5 plus -2 plus 3 plus -1, and this sum comes out to be -5. Okay. Now then after you calculate the sum of deviations, then you need to calculate the average of the deviations. Average of the deviations will be the total sum of deviations divided by number of terms. Since the number of terms were 5, so average deviation will come out to be -5 by 5. -5 by 5 will be -1. So the final average will become assumed average plus the average deviation. Since the assumed average was 25 and the average deviation was -1, so this becomes 24. So 24 will be the actual average of the given set of questions. Okay. And there is also a note for you. It is better to assume the average between the highest value and the lowest value, because it will always be between them. Again, it is a property of average, guys. If you're finding the average of, let's say, 5 numbers, then the value of the average will always be greater than the smallest number and will always be less than the largest number. It will always lie between the largest value and the smallest value. So that is why it is advisable that in the deviation method, you should always assume an average which is between the largest and the smallest number. Okay. Now you must be thinking that, sir, there are so many steps in this question, in this approach. Then yes, Mr. Chandan, you can do that, no problem. So you guys might be thinking that, sir, there are so many steps in this question, then why should we follow this? This will take more time. So guys, try to understand. First of all, this works well when the numbers are close to each other. And in this case, all the numbers are close to 24, 25, right? All the numbers are very close to 24, 25, and so on. Now, the step, since because I want you to understand this, that is why I have written, noted down all the steps. Okay. But if you actually keep it in mind, if you just look at the given 5 numbers, you can assume, you could have assumed 24 to be the average. And if you could have assumed 24 to be the average, you could have started calculating the deviations there itself and adding the deviations. Let's say the deviations came out to be 1. And then you could have divided the deviations by 5. Whatever you got, you could have added it to 24. That would have given you the final average. And this something which you have to practice. It will help you with little bit of practice. If you just try it out in 5 to 10 questions, then it will actually save your time. Okay. Just remember, the set of numbers should be closer to each other. And deviation method, if you learn how to use the deviation method, then actually you can solve, you could have solved even bigger questions without pen and paper. Okay. So are the steps clear, guys? Can we move ahead? Okay. So what you need to do is, now you need to solve this question. And my request to you would be to solve this question with the help of deviation method. Okay. And for the ones who have a good calculation speed, please try this question without pen and paper. It should not take you more than 30 to 40 seconds. Okay, the ones who got the answer, did you try it with the help of deviation method, or you just did solve the question with the normal approach? Did you try deviation method, or you solved it using the normal approach? Shivam has assumed 2000 to be the average. Very good, Shivam. Even I would have done the same in this case. Santosh, very good. Shivam has assumed 1996 as the average. Okay, so guys, as I have told you in the when I was teaching you the concept, that you can assume one of the given numbers, or you can also assume a number of your choice. Now, in this given set of questions, it's very clear that all the numbers are either slightly greater than 2000 or slightly less than 2000, right? So if you would have followed the average to be 2000, still you would have got the answer, and most probably this would have been slightly quicker than assuming one of the given numbers. Okay, so the deviation of 1993 from 2000 is -7, 1998 from 2000 is -2, and so on. I have calculated all the deviations. Now when you add the deviation, you can see that -7 -2 becomes -9, and this -9 gets cancelled with +9. Okay, so the first three deviations become 0. Now in the last two, 10 minus 4 becomes 6. So the sum of deviations comes out to be 6. And now after you find the sum of deviations, then you are supposed to find out the average of deviations. Average of deviations will be sum of deviations divided by n. That will be 6 by 5, which is 1.2. So now this 1.2 will get added to the assumed average, right? So assumed average was 2000, so 2000 plus 1.2 will give you 2001.2. So I hope this was very easy for you guys. I hope you have understood how to use the deviation method. So now let's move ahead. I have a small question for you. This is based on combined average. Let's assume that there is a idiotic class which is having an average of 0 marks. Let's say I conducted a test, and that test also had negative marking. So the average marks of the class came out to be 0. And then there's another class, class B, okay, where the average is 100 marks, okay? The average is 100 marks. It does not mean that the test was of 100 marks, okay? Let's assume that this was a CAT paper. So the total marks was 360. So class A average is 0, class B average is 100. Now my question to you would be that what is the combined average? What is the combined average? Is it 50? Please tell me in the comment box, will the combined average be 50? Khushbu is saying yes. Tanu is saying yes. Shruti is saying yes. Shivam is saying depends on total number of students. Pratik is saying no. What happened? We have a lot of participants. My question is, what will be the combined average? Will it be 50? So guys, the answer for this question is neither yes nor no. Okay, the answer is neither yes nor no. The answer is it will depend on the number of students. Okay, Shivam is saying it will be 50 if both have same number of students. Yes, Shivam, that is correct. Okay, so guys, now let's take out what was the mistake. The ones who said yes and as well as the ones who said no. Now see what was your mistake. I have taken certain cases. Okay, certain cases. Class A average is 0. I have assumed it to be A with a small suffix as A. Class B average is 100. Now we will find out the combined average. Combined average is nothing but the total sum divided by the total number of terms. Okay, the total sum of the marks in the two classes divided by the total number of students in the two classes. So I have taken certain cases. Check out the cases. In the first case, I have taken number of students in class A to be 1 and number of students in class B to be 1. Basically, I've taken same number of students. So in that case, you can see that after performing the calculation, the combined average came out to be 50. But in the second case, I have taken number of students in class B to be 1 and the number of students in class A to be 3. I have taken more students in class A now. So now you can see that the combined average after doing the calculation, after putting it in the formula, comes out to be 25. Initially it was 50, but now it is 25. And in the third case, I have reversed the number of students. Now I have put one student in class A and 3 students in class B. Now the combined average is coming out to be 75. Okay, so what can we learn from here? We learn that we cannot determine the average without knowing the number of students in each class, and that the combined average depends on the number of students and the average. Okay, even the number of students is important and also the average is important. Like in the previous case, you didn't know the number of students, you knew only the average. Similarly, if in another case, if I give you only the number of students and if I don't tell you the number of average, you will not be able to find out the combined average, right? And moreover, one more thing which you can learn out here, one more thing which you can learn from here is that when the number of students in class A is more, the combined average is more closer to the average of class A and more far from the average value of class B. And similarly, in the third case, when the number of students in class B was more than the number of students in class A, so the combined average was more closer to class B average as compared to class A average. Okay, I see some questions. Okay, Shubham, combined average. See, combined average is nothing but the total sum divided by the total number of students. Just assume that there were 50 students in class A. Just assume that there were 50 students in class A and the average was 1. So I could have said that the total sum of the marks in that class would have been 50. Right? Then let's say for class B, there were 20 students and their average was 100. So the sum of the total marks for class B would have been 20 into 100, 2000, right? So if I want to find out the combined average of the two classes, what would be my approach? My approach will be to find out the individual sum of the two classes, add them together. So in this case, it would have been 0 plus 2000 and divided by total number of students in class A and class B combined, right? Just assume that class A and class B were sitting in different classes, you have combined them together. How will you find the combined approach? The total number of students will be nothing but the sum of the number of students of class A and class B. And for the numerator of the formula of average, you will have to find out individually the sum of class A, the sum of class B, and then you need to add them. Okay. So I hope from next time you will not answer this question. Like It's possible, guys, that in an aptitude test, you might get this question where the first option will be yes, the second option will be no, the third option will be none of the above, and the fourth question will be data inadequate. Okay, and 80% people will mark either A or B. Okay, and that would be wrong. So let's see what is weighted average, basically the combined average. Okay, so it says that when we have two or more groups whose individual averages are known, then to find the combined average of all the elements of all the groups, we use weighted average method. Okay, and weighted average method is nothing but A1 K1 plus A2 K2 plus A3 K3 dot 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 till AN KN divided by K1 K2 K3 till KN, where A is corresponding to the average of each group and K is corresponding to the number of items in each group. So, so Shubham, now is it clear? Like now you know how this formula came. So guys, please use weighted average method when you have two or more than two groups and you have to find out the average. Okay. So based on that, I would request you guys to quickly solve this question. Uh, I've got the answer for only 4-5 students now. Khushbu, Pavitra, Gayatri, correct. No, sorry, I think you have just 30, 43, 52. Your answers are wrong, guys. It's again wrong, Khushbu. Just imagine 30 cannot be the answer because there are two classes. The average of one of the class is 30 and the average of the other class is 40. So you need to remember the property of average, which says that the combined average will be more than 30 but less than 40. Okay, it will be more than 30 but less than 40. The ones who are getting 34, please check out your solution once again. Okay, sorry. I did the mistake. The answer will be 34. Sorry. Yes, it is 34. Okay. The answer is option C. Sorry, guys. I was thinking in my mind that there were 24 students in class A and 36 students in class B. Okay. And so in that case, the answer would have been 36. Clear? So guys, now let's say that I wanted to solve this question. So we have just seen, let's try to eliminate the options, okay, with the help of our concept of average. Okay, that would help you in a lot of questions. Now since there are two classes, one of the average is 30 and the other is 40, it simply means that when we are finding the combined average, so the average will be always more than 30 but less than 40. it means option A and option B will never be true. Will never be true. Option A and option B will never be true. It will be true only in one scenario, and that scenario is when the number of students in one of the two classes is zero. If the number of students in one of the classes is zero, only in that scenario, the answer can be 30 or 40. But even if there is at least one student in both the classes, then the combined average will be always between 30 and 40. Okay. So using that concept, since the number of students is non-zero out here, we could have easily said that option A and option B cannot be true. Okay. Now coming to option C and option D. Let's say I want to use logic and I want to eliminate between option C and option D. So we'll check out for the number of students. We know that if there are more students in class A, then the combined average will be more closer to class A's average, right? Since there are more students in class A, so the combined average will be more closer to the value of class A's average. So since now tell me which is closer to 30, 34 or 36? 34 is more closer to 30, right? So if 34 is more closer to 30 and we have more students in class A, so our answer should have been option C, right? Yes or no? So like you can see that without using the formula or without actually calculating, we just answered this question. What did we use? We simply used some properties of average, right? This would help you in a lot of cases. Let's say in some difficult questions, you are finding it like you have less time, okay? And just assume that instead of these simple numbers 36, 24, 30, 40, I gave you some very complex values, let's say 79, 123. So in those type of scenarios, this particular concept which we just discussed using the properties will actually help you, okay? So now let's just take a small break of, let's say, 3 to 4 minutes, and then we will start with time and distance. Okay.